Hello, my name is LoG and welcome to Quickies number 10, where I show you something that I think is cool in 5 minutes or less. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite sounds, and that's featuring the 4 of a minor chord or a minor sound. If you don't know what that means, that's simply the 4th letter from the starting note of your sound. So if I'm playing, for instance, D minor, the 4th is going to be the 4th note of that scale, D, E, F, G. So G will be the 4th. You're probably already playing this note because it naturally lives inside of your pentatonic or your normal scales. It's right here. There's pentatonic, there's the 4, I just played it. But most people when they play 4, they tend to use it as a passing tone, right? A note to get to the 5 or get to the flat 3, something like that. Like I played it right there, but it was really just as a passing tone, a note that I can use to get to the 5 or backwards. Right, that's kind of your typical sound that people will play. Again, the 4 moving to the flat 3. What I'm talking about is featuring the 4, so maybe doing something like this. Right, so I played the 4 and then ended my phrase. Most of the time you would hear like something like that, flat 3 and then ending on 1. But I'm playing flat 3 and then 4 ending on 1. Or I might just like sit on it. Right, now that might be a little strong for some of you, but I personally really like that sound. Let's go over a bunch of ways we can really sneak this into your playing. So the easiest one to do is to take an existing phrase that you're already playing. How about just like an arpeggio, 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. I'll play the 1 again on top. Right, standard D minor still. Replace one of the notes with the 4 instead of whatever that note would be. So instead of playing 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, 1, we can play 1, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. Now it's kind of more of like a suspended sound. Or we can get rid of the 5 and play the 4 instead. So instead of 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, 1, 1, flat 3, 4, flat 7, 1. Right? And we can maybe sneak it into like a longer shape. Right, again, notice I'm sneaking that 4 in and then resolving in a way that you might not naturally hear. Of course, I can do this up an octave as well. How about this? 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, 4, grabbing it back here to the 1. Right, already a really cool sound, really different if you're not used to this. And what am I doing? Just taking a sound that I'm already doing, replacing it with the 4. You can sneak this in however you want. Tons of really cool ideas come from this sound. Another thing you can do is think of other sounds that you're already playing that would naturally have that note in there. So for instance, if I'm playing still over D minor this whole time, right? A sound that lives in the D minor world is C major, right? So if I play C major, what are the notes of just standard C major triad? C, E, and G. Well, there's the G. That's the 4 that we're talking about. So that note naturally lives inside C major. So if I want to have that note featured over D minor, I can pretend that it's C major. This is another pretend chord. A very easy one, in fact, because if this is your chord that you're playing over, D minor, just go back a whole step, start playing major, and you're going to be accessing that sound. So what I did right there is I played C major like a run, something like that, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, and then came down D minor. Again, all of that is happening over D minor. That's not over like C and then D. That's only D minor, and I'm pretending that it's a C. And again, it has that note in there, so you're hearing that D minor, or excuse me, you're hearing that 4 over the D minor a little better. Again, if you're playing C major over D minor, you can of course play A minor over D minor. Why? Because A minor and C major are closely related. So I can play any A minor lick that I know over D minor, pretend that it's A minor even though it's D minor, and I'm going to be accessing that note. Right? Whatever A minor sound that you want to play, you can do in the same way. How about like something a little bit different? How about G major, right? G major is definitely going to have a G in it. That's the root of the chord. So the root of this chord, this pretend chord, G major, is the 4 that I'm talking about this whole time. What other notes do we have though? If I play G major, it's 1, 3, 5 is G, B, D. So that's the 4, the natural 6, and the 1 of D minor, right? So when we play G major over D minor, we get this sound that features 4, the note we're talking about, and natural 6, which might be pretty cool. Of course, you could do like a huge variety of like mixtures of them, like something like this. Right, so that whole passage right there, that was me kind of playing a little bit of D minor, dipping into C major, right? D minor, G major, C major, ending with D. So there's a lot of really cool sounds you can do as long as you are aware of the different kind of pretend sounds you can use to sneak that note in there. You can really get some awesome sounds. So I played over a little bit of a backing track, just straight up D minor, and I'm kind of demonstrating these ideas so you can see what they sound like over a track. So hopefully you enjoy that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.